Hey everyone, this is P4L, and in today's Transformers review we'll be taking a look at the Hasbro Combiner Wars Titan Class Devastator. And I know this guy's been out for a while, and I've actually had him for a while, but I've been so busy that I literally finally got to open him up yesterday. And there was no way, even if I was the last person in the world to review this, that I wasn't going to review this figure. So let's go ahead and get started directly with packaging review, and this box is huge. I cannot believe I even got him in frame on my shooting studio area. But as you can see, a really big box showcasing Devastator and the Constructicons, showing off that it is 6 Voyager class figures, and each of the Constructicons along that side. It shows that you get a little bonus character card that we've been seeing with the Combiner Wars series, and you can see a couple of characters fighting off Devastator, and I have no idea who they are. They look pretty generic to me. Anyway, very much the same kind of black and red deco that we've gotten from the Generations line. Coming around to the top, if I can actually fit it on, you got the Decepticon logo, and you got Hook, Long Haul, Scavenger, Bonecrusher, Scrapper, and Mixmaster. So nothing new, no weird name changes that we've seen before in the line. Along the side, you just get more of the same picture here, which I can't even fit in. Nothing really on this side. On the bottom, just Combiner Wars upside down. And then on the back here, I would flip it the other way, but you're not going to be able to see it all if I do. Again, just a huge picture of Devastator showing off the 6 different team members that make up the combined form of Devastator, and then again showing some detailed steps on each one, saying that this transforms in 9 steps: 8, 17, 16, 10, and 8. So very varying degrees of transformation complexity. I'm gonna say it's 18 inches or 45 centimeters. But yeah, let's get rid of the box because no one really cares about this anyway, right? So once you open up the box, this is how the Constructicons come kind of situated. Their packaging is very rudimentary, just straight up cardboard, and it actually looks like it just 6 boxes essentially taped together to a larger box or frame. And yeah, you have all the 6 members of the Constructicon team. You get this card that we showed off a little bit earlier, hanging from a little baggie. You get around back, I'm not going to flip it around because it's pointless. Around back, you will get a little baggie full of the accessories, which we'll go to in a little bit. And then you also get this instruction sheet. It's pretty large. As you can see, it shows transformation from alt mode to robot mode on one side, and then the other side, it shows each alt mode or robot mode, whichever one's easier to get to the combined form, and puts them in their combined formation, tells you how to actually combine them with combiner ports, put the gun together, and then actually combine to form Devastator. And speaking of which, the way we're going to do the review, just because there's so many team members, the way I'm going to do transformation is I'm going to go from out of the packaging alt to robot, back to alt, and then go into combined form, okay? And yeah, hopefully I can try to keep this under 4 hours. Knowing me, that's probably not going to happen. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into alt mode review. And here's the whole Constructicon crew in alt mode. They are of varying sizes. They don't look like they're actually in realistic scale with each other, but given that they need to transform and form into a combiner with decent proportions, obviously you have to forgive some of that, so I'm not going to be a stickler about that. Very quickly, let's go ahead and do some quick comparisons on size. Let's just take Scrapper. He seems like a medium size for this group. And you can see how he scales with another Voyager Motor Master from Wave 1 of the Combiner Wars series. And then Long Haul is just gigantic. Oh, I forgot to flip these back. But yeah, he's by and large the big daddy of the group. For those of you who like the size of Titan Devastator and think you want to display him with your masterpiece, I just went ahead and brought out Prowl. Again, just to give you a quick idea. Just dwarfing Prowl. I don't want to spend too much time doing comparisons. Again, you do get a baggie of stuff that's kind of taped together. There's not a lot of accessories with this guy. You just get these two kind of missile launchers, which turn into the forearms and fists. They have a flip out handle that gives you some pegs. And long haul by and large is what's going to carry, or can carry, all these guys. He has a couple pegs back here. You just peg that in. He has the chest piece and the two wing pieces, which they can go into various places, but I think the G1 toy allowed you to peg these into Scrapper if you wanted and make some wings, or you can just put them in the combined mode form, and there's a peg here in the middle of the front that you can do that if you want to make long haul a little bit more decked out, I guess. And then the two guns, which you can use as separate guns. They have a small peg back here if you want to use as an independent gun for one of the Constructicons, or you can combine them like so to make Devastator's gun. And the only place I can see where this fits in is they have a dedicated kind of peg here, and you can peg that in like so. And so the long haul can carry everything as far as accessories go, if you want them to. I think it's just kind of silly. The missile launchers may be the only thing I would actually keep on him. But yeah, let's get these accessories off to the side and actually go into individual review and then transformation. Let's start off with Scrapper. We're going to build our way up from the bottom, so let's start with a leg. So here's Scrapper in alt mode. Actually a very nice alt mode. The only thing that you'll probably want to complain about with these guys is just the lack of paint apps overall. I mean, he just has a little bit of purple and then the Decepticon logo, but otherwise they're going to be pretty bare. Nothing that, you know, a few paint apps or some repro labels or something like that can't fix. They did actually start repro labels did actually start showing off their sets for this, so that's very cool. It should be coming out fairly shortly. Just to put in a quick plug for them. He does roll, and on the bottom you do see his chest. As far as articulation goes, he has two joints here and here, and that's about it. So not a whole lot of articulation, but as much as you would expect. Oh, he does have this cab that can flip around. They actually have it for transformation, but it's actually kind of pointless for transformation as well. So anyway, that's really it for Scrapper. Let's go ahead and get him transformed from alt to robot. First thing you're going to do is kind of just bring this back around and collapse it on itself so it kind of sits on the back like that. You're going to pull the arms out, and they're on double hinges, as you can see here. The black pieces double hinge out like so. You can flip out the fists, and then bring the front of the legs down, which also contain the feet. And the feet you're just going to pull down like that. Then the rear thighs are going to fold down. They have pegs and peg holes, corresponding peg holes. Just plug that in, make sure the feet actually have that peg go behind. And then you can separate the feet. Then last but not least, go ahead and bring up Scrapper's head. Sorry about that, let me scooch up just a tiny bit. And then we have Scrapper in robot mode. And he looks really good. I've always loved Scrapper. He was my favorite of the Constructicons. I believe he was the leader. I'm not actually completely sure. But let's take a quick 360 of him. And aside from this backpack, he looks very clean. He does have some hollow legs going on the cab area, but not all too terrible. As far as articulation, I think he has a ball jointed head. It feels like it because you can get a little bit of head bobble, but you don't get a lot of use out of it. You can flip his head all the way around. His arms are on these kind of swivels, one swivel this way and then one hinge this way, so it gets a good range of motion there. And it's actually a pin joint back here too with those double hinges that allow you, if you want to bring it closer to the body, you can, or you can bring it out. So you have a lot of options there. No elbow joint on this version. I believe he will have an elbow joint on the Takara version, which I'll review later, but he does have a bicep swivel, and then his wrist is just one molded, wrist and fist is just one molded piece. You can just tilt it in and out, but that's really for transformation. He doesn't have a waist swivel from what I can tell. I don't think so. Yeah, and then he does have, because he's an ankle, he does have a sideways tilt to one side if you want him leaning, but really not for any kind of meaningful articulation. He does have kind of universal hips here, so you can go out to the front and back. Good deal. He does have that swivel. Does have a knee bend, 90 degrees, so perfect. And they did a really good job actually incorporating ankle tilts into most of these guys' feet. I think all of them may have some kind of ankle tilt. And then for transformation, that foot is on a pin and can go forward and back just a tiny bit. But yeah, I think Scrapper is easily my favorite of the group, especially in robot mode. Mixmaster. And this guy is, we're going from like my favorite to my least favorite, and I think that's probably true of this guy for everyone. He's probably the least favorite. I have actually even turned around backwards. This is the front of the mixer, and it's backwards, and a lot of people are bothered by that, including myself. I don't know why they decided to do that. It is based on a real construction vehicle, concrete mixer, but it's not G1 enough, I guess. I hate saying that, but it's definitely not. It looks kind of funny in this mode. You can kind of pretend that this is the front if you'd like, but yeah. But yeah, you can get away with that. No articulation at all for this guy in alt mode, except for his wheels that do roll, and you get much of the robot mode on the bottom. And you also get just kind of this front, or the rear, I keep calling it the front, the rear that's just kind of open-ended there. So yeah, that's it. Very weak, I think. Alt mode, it's weak just because it's not what we kind of expected, but it does look really nice. They even went ahead and molded some of the pieces that probably weren't all that necessary, and he does have some silver smokestacks and some molded details. He has probably more paint apps than most of the other Constructicons. Anyway, let's go ahead and get him transformed. He's going to go ahead and come down. I'm going to unplug the arms from the side. If I can get it. And then they're on a hinge that comes up like so. And he does have an elbow joint. You can just pull that out. And he does have very low elbows. Next, what you're going to do is kind of pull forward on the front of the cab, and that will untab this big kind of foot piece here. Just going to rotate that straight and split the legs. Let me scooch up a bit, and then the last part, you just pull back on the cab here. Then you have a piece here that you rotate around to see the head and kind of like the missile launchers, his classic missile launchers. That's it above the head, and there we go. There we have Mixmaster in robot mode. Not great, but not terrible. Except for this thing. This is what kind of sends it into the worst of the figure. For me, anyway. I wish they could have done something with this. I don't know what I don't know. But he's definitely looks really stupid from the side, and even from the front a bit. He looks like he is like a wasp or a hornet with this thing just floating around back. It looks like he should have a stinger of some sort. In any case, the other things wrong with him are the arms. Like I said, the elbows hang really low and look kind of goofy. It looks more like a weird wrist bend than an elbow bend. His head is on a ball joint. Yeah, I can definitely feel that. You can get it going all the way around. His shoulders are kind of on like those universal joints. Swivel here and a pin joint. He does run into some interference because of his kind of hood. Like I said, we do have an elbow bend, which goes pretty far, even though it's terrible. And then he does have universal hips. Mine are kind of loose. As you can see, it flops down a bit. But he does have a lot of weight in his legs. That's probably why. Going out this way is fine. And he has swivel there. Nice knee bend, 90 degrees almost. And then coming down to his feet, he also has an inward ankle tilt. No forward and back though. I think that's it for Mixmaster's robot mode. Bringing in Long Haul, the big boy of the group. Again, he's huge. He looks really good. He does have his forearms just kind of sitting off on the side here, which does kind of look kind of silly. But from the front, he looks really great. He has a nice grille, some big headlights. He has the cab up here. Nice huge wheels. Again, that roll. The back is where the illusion starts falling apart. He just has gaps here and everything like that. The truck bed also is not flat, has some parts of the legs sticking out here. But by and large, I still like this mode. Alright. Getting into transformation. I think the first thing we need to do is come to the front and kind of unpeg this. So there's tabs here, just pull it forward. And then you also want to pull straight out on the bed to go out like this. And again, let me zoom up just a tiny bit because he is quite a big one. And so you have this on a double hinge. You want to pull this forward. And then once you have the arms pulled out, the arms are on double hinges as well. They rotate up and sort of tab in here. Not really. They just, these purple tabs here go into these indents in the arms, the shoulders. But it doesn't tab in, it just kind of sits there. With that done, you can actually bring just the front of the dump truck down. And that tabs in right there. Then with the lower body, you're going to rotate at the waist. And then you'll get the legs. So the legs, the way they work, I believe, is you just bring these intersections down like this. And those form the feet. And then last but not least, I'm going to rotate the head forward. Oh, I forgot. When you get the waist turned around 180, you still have that dump truck bed that's going to go into this tab here. So just put it back where it was originally. And there we have Long Haul in robot mode. Again, another quick 360. He's the beefy one. He just does not seem to fit with the rest of the group in terms of size. But it's actually kind of nice to see them have some sort of difference in size a bit, so they're not all exactly the same height, but I think they take this one a little too far. And it's not without reason. Obviously he makes up the waist, which is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting, the core of Devastator, so he has to have nice hefty ratchets in the waist and the hips. The head sculpt's really nice. I don't think this one is on a ball joint. No, yeah, definitely not. Oh, well, no. Yeah, it is on a ball joint. Okay. It just doesn't have a lot of forward and back. That's what threw me off. But he can go around as well. There we go. As far as his shoulders, they're on what might be ball joint. No, just a swivel here and a rotating joint there. His elbows are also weird. They just go in and out on a pin as opposed to forward and back, so that's just kind of odd. He does have the waist. To really make use of more than one click of the waist though, you're going to have to unpeg the truck bed. His thighs are really, his hips are really great though, in that they're super tight ratchets for Devastator. Awesome. Same thing going forward. And then coming down to the lower leg, he does have a knee bend, which is also ratcheted. And he has ankle tilts, which are partially for transformation. Alright, so that's long haul. I think he's pretty good aside from the fact that he's just ultra beefy. Here's Hook down here. I'm going to keep zooming down and up a lot, so I apologize for that. He has some wheels, and he has the crane arm that goes up and down. That's about it. No extension or anything like that. Quick 360. He does have this big kind of middle section there, which I don't know how accurate that is to a real life vehicle, but that is where the Devastator head is contained. He does have a gap here as well, breaking up the back. He's a little gappy. He may be just less consistent looking or coherent looking just because he does have a lot of different colors going on. He's not like mostly green in the body. He has some of that purple, some of this black, which are the combiner ports, which we'll look at later. He has a few paint apps, not a lot. And then he has this Decepticon logo up here. Bottom, once again, you see a lot of kind of his robot mode in here. Transformation wise, pretty simple. As with most of the figures here, the first thing you usually do is deal with the arms. You just kind of like pull them off to the side here, like so. Here, again, let me zoom this up real quick. Alright, from there, then he also has an elbow joint which you can untab if you'd like. We'll deal with the rest of the upper body. So one of the weird things here is that this whole like section here with the cab actually will slide down just like not even a half a centimeter maybe, and you'll hear it click into place, and you need to do that in order to get him transformed correctly. So go ahead and do that. That allows you to actually use the double hinge on this backpack to come down and sit correctly. Otherwise, you get some interference because it has this slide onto this purple joint here with this tab. So if you don't actually slide it down, you won't be able to actually move that down. His lower legs, kind of similar to the others. You pull down the front. I think Scrapper had the same thing. Pull down the front for shins and then bring out the toes or feet. The rear of his legs are different in that they're on double hinges. Be careful when you're pulling out this tab. It's a long tab. I think it might be better if you cut it shorter. Mine's already showing some stress marks here, and I saw some people complain about some breakages there, so just really be careful on that one. But as I was saying, these are on the back of the legs are on double hinges, so instead of folding it out, you double hinge it down. And then once you do that, you'll be able to, you have to pull out on the leg a bit, and then you'll get this tab that goes into the side there. Another tab down here, and then you complete the leg. So once again on this side, pull this down. You gotta pull this out a bit, this outer leg section, just a bit to get those two tabs in, and then you can fold the feet. And then we can just rotate the head around. And then we have Hook. Oh, you might want to fold this flat. Hook in robot mode. Again, I really like the overall look. I think they did a really good job, especially with the head sculpts. They do definitely look very much like the G1 characters. So bravo, Hasbro on that account. Oh, I forgot to fold out the fist. Sorry about that. So just rotate the fist out. And they kind of snap into place. But yeah, overall he's really good. I like him as well. He might be my second favorite after Scrapper. Articulation wise, he does have that shoulder joint that can move up a bit, but does run into his kind of shoulder pieces there. He can go around, but again he runs into some interference. He can go up, more interference. So there's a lot of articulation. It's just this guy is running into some problems just with these pieces. It would have been nice if you could do something else with them to get them out of the way, but I guess you could always pull them back or something. Where was I? Elbow joint, no swivel, fist, all one molded piece again. No waist articulation. Again, he has a weird joint. Couple weird joints in the, you might not be able to do that one, that you can kind of make use of to make him lean if you wanted. Not really purposeful for robot mode. His hips are really low, so his proportions are a little off there. He has like a really long torso, but again, universal hips. He's the, oh, he does have thigh swivel. I thought he was the only one that didn't have thigh swivel. He does have a lot of hollowness in the inside of his legs, so that transformation with the double hinge does prevent any hollowness on the back, but you still have hollowness on the inside here. And then the feet have that ankle forward and back with the foot, and then that ankle tilt going inward. Alright, so that is Hook. Bring in Bonecrusher, one of the arms. Do a quick 360. This one looks pretty good. A few nitpicks are that I hate that his treads are green. I would like some color, at least purple to match Scavenger, or black. I would have preferred black the most, I think, to be a little bit more realistic. And yeah, he's just a lot of green. That's one of my major nitpicks. My other nitpick is that he only has two wheels, one on each side of his treads, which is kind of pointless. I don't know why they would go out of their way to just add those two and not two on the rear. He does have some articulation with his, I guess, shovel? I don't know what you would call this. And it's on a double hinge too, so you do get a little bit more articulation. But I believe the official transformation is to have it up like that. Alright, that's it for... Oh, one other thing I noticed is that, at least on mine, the green molded plastic on this section here, which are his shoulders, are different than most of the rest of the figure. And it stands out quite a bit. I don't know if that's the way it is with you guys, but if it is, or it isn't, go ahead and let me know in the comments. I'm just kind of curious. I might have just gotten a lemon there. But let's go ahead and get into transformation. So first thing we'll do is come around to the bottom. We'll untab the legs here and just kind of get them out of the way. Extend this shovel piece on the double hinge around like so, and leave that down like that. Next thing we'll do is, I'm gonna untab the back section like that. Let's just bring this black section like this. We're gonna need to do that for later. While we're at it, we'll just go ahead and lift this cab piece up and rotate out the head. Like that. This section here become the arms. So you're gonna wanna pull out the bottom here, like that. Separate them like this at the shoulder joint, the oddly colored pieces. And then you're gonna collapse this black joint here, like that, and those tab in on both sides. Then you can fold the shoulders back, rotate the arms 90 degrees and fold them down. And then we'll deal with the lower body. So the lower body, you need to rotate down like this at the middle. Rotate that down, and then you can bring this up to form the chest. It's kind of oddly angled. like this. And then from here, this one's sometimes hard to untab for mine. You're gonna rotate this down, these two panels, and then rotate the legs to the outside. They were on the inside like this, rotate them out like that. And this is where it gets really annoying, and people have complained about this. So there's 3 sets of connectors or tabs that help this crotch piece form. So there's this one piece here, which has kind of a hook, which will go around this. There's another one on the back. And then don't miss the ones on the black parts where the joints for the hips are. They peg in together. So you kind of gotta, just, since these are hooked, it's better to try to go with those second, but remember to keep the black hip pieces level so that they plug in a straight line. So something like that. That's pretty close. It's not very secure, which is the biggest complaint people have. There's probably some mods you can do. The next thing you'll do is extend the legs, and then come down to the feet, and you'll split them in the middle and just open them up until they click into place. And this section obviously came undone again, which again is one of the major complaints with hook. You gotta get close, and that's about it. Hopefully it'll stick together. Nope, it's not. I'm not gonna actually bother trying to keep fixing this because it comes undone so frequently. It's just annoying. So here we have Hook in robot mode. Do a quick 360, and he's a lot of green going on. A couple things that bother me besides the entire green bode is that the one black piece really is his kind of butt pack. This cab piece up here, I wish it could fold down, but it actually runs into his head if you try to do that, which is annoying. So you have to have it up and annoyingly displayed. I also am a little OCD, so I don't like the angle of his chest not being, flat or 90 degrees to the ground kind of thing. I know I'm weird, but that just really bothers me. It's also really wide. It just kind of looks weird. And yeah, the legs. I think I'm gonna need to get somebody to paint that or paint it myself black to give him some more color. He does have a lot going on here, which is nice, and I guess the arms, but the lower body, I really just need something going on there. And his crotch piece, the whole transformation piece there is just really, really poorly executed. As far as articulation, he does have a ball jointed head, so you can go all the way around. He actually has more range of motion than most. He has ball jointed shoulders and a slot cut out, so you can get him to do a T-pose, go all the way around, and you get a little bit of rotation. He actually has double jointed elbows because he has a joint, and then he also has a ball joint down on the lower part of his forearms. His forearms are entirely one piece, including his fists, so that's annoying. He does have kind of a waist swivel up here, but you have to kind of deal with his chest piece not being on that same rotating part, so you don't get a lot of meaningful use of that out of that. His hips are where the complaints have been coming out again because of the way that these black pieces need to peg straight in together. You're trying not to move that, but it ends up moving quite a bit. But it's also very much like the shoulder joints, a ball joint and a slot cut out at the top to allow him to go all the way out like that. Otherwise, he uses that ball joint to get a little bit of thigh swivel and all those range of movement that come with those ball joints. And again, see, I was barely moving it and this stupid crotch piece came undone. He has a very high ball joint at the thigh, which makes up his knee bend and his swivel here. And then down at the feet, he does have ankle tilts, which are great. Great job again on Hasbro integrating those. And then since transformation allows him to get some range of motion on his toes and heels. So articulation wise, he's probably one of the stronger, although he does make use of a lot of ball joints. And then finally, we have Scavenger, who looks pretty good. Let me zoom in a bit. Scavenger looks really good. He does actually have some color on his tread, which is nice. He still does only have 2 wheels, which is really odd that they did that. And then he has 2 points of articulation for his arm. Well, actually 3. He has that joint here, a joint there, and he has a rotational joint there. So he does have a decent amount of articulation in his alt mode. We'll just fold that back up. And he has a good amount of paint apps too. Red, silver, black. He also has pretty clean rear, and he has kind of like a bumper. Clearance wise though, oh, I see. I didn't notice that. So this is his rear wheel. I didn't even notice that. I wonder if now I'm wondering. Oh yeah, he has it too. I totally didn't miss that. He also has a rear wheel, kind of like him. Huh. Learned something new while reviewing. Interesting. So I gotta give them that. So he does have the clearance to do that, even though this rear one doesn't seem to move all that well. But let's go ahead and get into transformation. Just like with Bonecrusher, we're gonna go to the bottom, untab this section up here. You can just rotate the legs out of the way for now. His arms will actually rotate forward, like so, and they'll tab in at the top and lock in. Then we're going to pull this cab all the way around like that, so it sits on the side. That allows the arms, which use a swivel here and a ball joint, to come up like that. Zoom out a bit. Then you can go ahead and come to the bottom side, rotate out the fists if you can actually grab a hold of them. There we go. All right. So now we can deal with the hips. So this will rotate up, but you also have to untab it. So, ow, that's really tight. So you can see this tab untabs there, and that way you can get the legs to come down this way, and while rotating at that black joint, you'll go in and tab in there. You can get the legs to come down, same as Bonecrusher, extend and open the toes. There we go. And then open up the chest to rotate the head out. Actually, it's supposed to be rotated in this way. I'll explain why I rotated it the other way a little bit later. And yeah, just keep this however you'd like. If you want to have it up, you can, but you're supposed to kind of have it set like that for his backpack. But there we go. We have the last Constructicon Scavenger in robot mode, and he's actually pretty decent too. He's not terrible. One thing I have complained about is these tabs on, at least this side on my hip, doesn't tab in that securely. This one's fine. This one's actually solid, really solid. This one, no effort and goes in and out. A little bit of a bummer. Again, his head on a ball joint, decent range compared to his brethren. His shoulders are ball joints, kind of like his very similar friend Bonecrusher. He does have a ball joint at the arm, no double elbows, so he only gets 90 degrees, but he does get a swivel there too, or he should. Yeah, very tight swivel. No wrist articulation other than folding it back for transformation. Waist wise, he doesn't have anything because of this whole section here. I think you might, no, you can't do anything with that. I was trying to experiment to see if you can do something, but no. Same thing, same legs as Bonecrusher, with all the same articulation and the ankle tilts and the toe and heel. So I'm not going to go too detailed into that because I'm trying to speed through. Alright, here's the whole crew. I kind of ordered them in order from my favorite to least favorite, just my personal taste. And just to give you an idea of what they look like compared to a couple of others, let's go ahead and bring in Blue Streak from the Masterpiece line and Motormaster from the Combiner Wars line. As you can see, they're generally a little bit taller than the Masterpiece figures, which actually scale pretty well with the Masterpiece line in terms of just pure height. They were supposed to be a bit taller than the Carbots, so I think that can work, except obviously the aesthetic and the overall articulation doesn't fit. But in terms of pure height in robot mode, they work pretty well with the Masterpiece line. With the Another Voyager from the Combiner Wars, you can see they are all definitely Voyager size, long haul being a little bit bigger than the others, but yeah, by and large, very much in the correct class. That said, in terms of complexity, I do think that they're a little bit more basic in a lot of ways than the traditional Voyager class that you would get. And I can understand that, again, they're doing a lot more with this. They're doing pretty much a triple changer. I do think they skimped a little bit more with some of the paint apps, maybe, on some of the figures, again, with the legs on Bonecrusher and so forth. But if you were to buy these as Voyager, as individual pieces, and not as a combiner with 3 modes, you might feel a little bit cheated at the complexity and overall look. But again, you have to keep in mind that these are designed to be combiners too, so I can forgive that. So just keep that in mind, and maybe you'll also have the kind of same mentality as me going into it. Alright, so very quickly we're going to go back into alt mode for each of these guys, and then we're actually going to go to alt mode and then straight into combine mode, and then we'll finish off with combining this guy and trying to get him on camera. Alright, let's start off the transformations back into alt mode and then going straight into combine mode. So the first thing we'll do with Scrapper is go ahead and collapse his head down in a nice loud fashion, fold in his arms, come down to his feet. You're going to want to make sure you get the clearance on the heel for that peg. Just pull that forward, unpeg it, and then you're going to peg that peg into the peg hole on like the thigh. There we go. And then you're going to fold this up. Same thing on the other side. Just making sure you get that peg in that peg hole pretty squarely. Folding this up. My suggestion, because of the way this peg is shaped, kind of like a mushroom, it's better to kind of slide it in from the bottom than it is to just kind of force it together, but whatever works for you. Go ahead and collapse the shoulders by making use of those double hinges, and then there's tabs on the feet that will go into the arms, like that. And then you can bring down the shovel. Pretty quick transformation into combine mode. First thing that I do is go ahead and fold up the shovel like this, and you'll have a tab here that goes into this slot. Be very careful. I accidentally broke mine. I had to super glue it, so I'm going to be very gentle when I put this in, but it might break on screen, and that's because I wasn't paying attention. So it's not the fault of the figure itself. So yeah, go ahead and tab it in like that. That makes it way more secure in combine mode. Go ahead and untab the arms up there and just rotate them down. And there's a small black piece that is going to be sandwiched in between these two pieces there on each side. Just tab that in. That's nice and secure. To deal with the feet or the connector port, you just go ahead and bring out the feet like you did before, like so. And that's it. There you go. You have the right leg of Devastator ready to go. Put him off this side. Let's bring in Mixmaster. Again, going into alt mode. It's pretty simple. I'm just gonna peg those feet together. Slide this into the mixing barrel. Pull up on this piece, rotate it down, fold it back up, and then we're gonna rotate the shoulders down and tab in here. And there we go. We have him back in alt mode. For combine mode, it's pretty simple as well. Just fold out the rear of the truck like that. You're going to want to untab the fists here and bring them down like so. And you really only need to do that if you want to make use of the ankle tilt. If you don't, it actually looks better folded up, and we'll look at that a little bit later. Fold this part down, makes part of the heel. And then the only sort of complex part is pulling this out. You're gonna have to separate the legs. Then you're gonna tilt the feet like so. And then you're just gonna pull outward on this. And then you can close the foot back up. And you need that because this again makes the connector for the combined mode foot or leg. And now you can just rotate that back in and tab it back in as before. And now you have the other foot or leg. Get him out of the way. Alright, Long Haul, you're up next. So Long Haul, he's the only one that's really closer to combined mode from robot than he is from alt mode, but we're going to go ahead and transform him back anyway. So first thing we'll do is fold up his feet. Then we're going to need to untab the truck bed. And while we're at it, why don't we just go ahead and untab the front as well. And fold down the head. Rotate at the waist. Just bring the legs, don't tab in, you just need to get them straight again. Just do that. You're going to want to use these double hinges and rotate the shoulders down. And then there's also a tab here that goes into the inside of the fist. Alright, collapse it all down. There's a small tab that goes into the black shoulder sections as well. Make use of that double hinge on the backpack to bring everything back and down. You'll see these two leg pieces get into place. Then you're going to tab in the front. And there's a couple tabs here. There's a tab on the shoulder and some on the back. But basically, it's pretty easy. I'm not going to point out all the tabs, but you just kind of feel your way. It's pretty simple. Most of the tabs are pretty sturdy. And like I said, just make sure you have that tabbed in. There we have Long Haul back in alt mode. We're going to go ahead and transform him into combine. So combine, we're actually going to kind of do the reverse. We're going to kind of start off like we did in robot, unpegging the front and the truck bed, and bringing that out like that. The shoulders we do bring back out and up. I was trying to remember if we did or not. And then we also bring the forearms out and around like that. Go ahead and bring the front of the truck cab down as before. And then the rear of the legs is going to fold down. Nice ratchets there. And then from the back, you're actually going to pull open these sections so that they're flat like that. And then go ahead and tab in the truck bed again. And there we have kind of Devastator's midsection going on in thighs. Moving on to hook. So first going into alt mode, let's go ahead and turn his head around. I'm going to pull back on this and go up. Make use of that double hinge. Remember to slide this cab piece back. So you're sliding it back in towards the center. The legs, you're going to pull down the toes and untab the shins. So again, remember these tab in from the side, so you have to kind of pull inward on the leg. Same thing on the back. Untab it that way by pulling outward on this section. And then coming back, tabs in here, a couple tabs there. Showing you again, untab this section here, and then untab that tab on the back. Gonna rotate back up, like so. And then you have the two halves that peg together with this tab here, and then this long peg there. Okay. Go ahead and collapse the fist in. Straighten out the arms. Just kind of hook on there. And then we're going to rotate the shoulders up, like so. Oh, I guess to show you, there is a tab deep in here, and a slot there, and a tab there. Get this in place. And there we have hook back in alt mode. Getting him into combine mode is pretty easy as well. You're going to want to untab the arms just enough to get you to bend at the elbows. Then you're going to want to basically break him in three sections: a rear, this middle section, and the front. So there's the front section, there's the rear section. Gonna come around. There's another one of those, I don't know what they're called, these kind of sandwich tabs. You're gonna see a lot of those in this figure. The combiner port is in here. Just pull the left shoulder out like that. Oh, you also want to slide this joint again outward so it's flush here. Other combiner port, you just open up the cab, rotate it 90 degrees, and fold that down. Then there's also combining tabs kind of thing that go into long haul, so you rotate this down. The other one is in his chest. Rotate it like that. You're going to make use of several tabs when you combine him, but there's one on the right arm, that chest, this one here, and then there's going to be tabs on long haul shoulders that go to the rear part of this section here. You'll actually see, you can't just put it anywhere, it has to be towards the bottom of his torso. And then another one here, as you can see, has only a cutout near the front of his foot towards the back of Devastator. The head reveal, you just pull out on this, and there's two tabs. And while we're here, we'll just do a quick look at Devastator's face. No ball joint, just a swivel. But it looks very G1. I like it, although I think it is a little tiny for the combined mode, but we'll take a look at that later. Moving on to the arms. Let's go ahead and start with, who's this? Scavenger? Oh, I forgot. Actually, in transformation robot mode, I guess it should be like this to be G1. And I don't remember if they... I'd have to go back and look at the instructions to see if this is correct for how they want it done. But you'll have the option to do like this, which is the way I do it, or the G1 look is to have it down. It doesn't look like they show him with his yeah, they don't have it they have it like this. But again, if you want G1, you can do this. Anyway, sorry for the digression. So with him, we're gonna go back into alt mode, go ahead and collapse the toes and heels, collapse the legs, Just gonna untab these hips. Let's go ahead and deal with the head. The reason before I had it like this is because you can actually see part of his face if you keep it turned this way, you'll be able to see part of his face. I'll show you real quick. You'll actually be able to see part of his face. Well, I'll show you later. But let's go ahead and turn it this way. Alright, so where were we? Let's go ahead and deal with the lower body. Just untab the purple section, rotate it down, and then fold it so it tabs back in here. Like so. Alright. Then we're going to deal with the fists. Go ahead and rotate those back in. Rotate those back in. Make use of the ball joints and the hinge here to come down like that. Close up the cab. And then rotate at the shoulder joints, shoulder tabs, all the way back in. And there's a tab here and a tab at the bottom, which will secure both arms, like so. Now we're going to rotate at the black joint here to come down. Rotate these around. And then there's tabs here and here that go into slots there and there. There we go. Back in alt mode. And going to arm mode is very simple. You're just going to untab the front treads. Untab this section. Pull it all the way down. And then rotate it around. So the reason I flipped the head is that you can actually see the face there. But I'm actually noticing that you can't close it all the way, or I thought I had it closed all the way before. Maybe not. But so the official transformation, you have it like this, which obviously closes better, but then you start seeing part of the face mask. I think it's a bit of a trade-off because you're not actually going to see this. You're not going to actually see that this isn't fully closed anyway once it's in the arm for Devastator. But yeah, officially, we'll go ahead and do that. And you want to rotate it 180 degrees, I think. No, you need to have the hole out for the forearm to tab in. And then here, you'll actually secure these treads on the main body, but you're gonna still make use of these tabs up here later. Since we're here, why don't we go ahead and bring out the fists. I'm not sure which one is the left or right, so we'll go ahead and transform both of them. So just rotate out the fist. Oh, I don't know why I'm having... There we go. So there's his right arm, which is the one that we're going to be using for Scavenger. And you use this peg in here, and it goes right there. So like I said, you're not really going to see if this is slightly open. And then you rotate it 90 degrees there, and then rotate the fist 90 degrees. And this is his arm. Go straight into Bonecrusher. So let's get him into Alt and then into Combine. Same thing as with Scavenger. Go ahead and fold in the toe and heel. Collapse the legs. Untab the crotch if it doesn't do that for you already. Rotate around the black pieces. And these are going to have little tabby hook things on the side there. You can also bring down the chest. Here, let's just tab that in first. What should we do next? Next, we'll go ahead and untab the shoulders and then break open the chest by pulling out like that. fold in the head, close this piece up. This is gonna go something like this. I'm trying to remember now. So this is the front. Oh, so let's deal with the arms first. So arms are going to rotate like this and collapse with that double jointed elbow like that. And these are going to fold together as two halves, making use of these pegs and peg holes. So that, there we go. Then we tab in at these 4 tabs into the arms, like so. This black piece with the hole is going to go right there. Fold in the treads, and they're going to tab in to these black tabs. And then use the double hinge on the shovel, or dozer piece, I guess. Am I doing something wrong up here? Oh, sorry, there's another tab there. That's why. Silly me. There we go. Make sure I did that on the other side as well. There we go. And there we have Bonecrusher in alt mode. Transforming him into arm mode is pretty simple. We're going to untab the rear treads, fold the black section down. And then for the shoulder, I think what you need to do is actually bring the shovel down like this, because that allows you to get the range of motion. If that wasn't pulled down, then you'd run into some interference. Again, taking the black piece, you're gonna make use of this peg and that large peg hole. Just tab that in. And he makes the left arm, so you're gonna want to rotate it like this. And then rotate the fist 90 degrees. There we go. So I don't think this is all gonna fit on screen, but I'm gonna try my best without showing off too much of my wall. So let's go ahead and bring the leg bots in and long haul. So the combiner joints are just really weird. It's not really joints so much as just tabbing stuff in. So for here, each of them have kind of this eye piece, joint, and that's going to slide in here. So it's probably easier to have these fold back. You just slide this in, and then there are tabs on the feet that go into the deep section there. Just need to make use of those foot tilts. And there you go. Same thing with this one. It's a little bit harder on Mixmaster just because he has this that kind of gets in the way, but as long as you get all the way butted up against the mixer and then slide that in, you shouldn't have any problems. Same thing, make use of these little tabs and tab that in securely. Something doesn't feel right. There we go. There we go. So I had to scooch up a bit. Let's go ahead and bring in hook. And again, there are a lot of tabs going on here. There's going to be this piece here that goes into this kind of smokestack thing. This U piece here that's going to go into this black piece there. These tabs on the shoulders that are going to go into these 2 tabs here. And then finally this tab on the fist that's going to go in to a small slot right there. So let's see if I can get this to actually work on camera. Not that helpful, but I find the easiest thing to do is go ahead and line up the big tabs first, like the black piece and the purple piece. Because once you get those in, the others you can kind of finagle in slowly but surely. Okay, so the shoulder piece you can just go ahead and kind of fit in like that. Same thing with this fist piece. There, that went in. Oh, I don't think this black piece went in all the way. Trying to accomplish this on camera is pretty much one of the most difficult things I've had to do. Again, this shoulder tab here, it's gonna go in somewhere into the purple part of the chest. There we go. Alright. That wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Alright, the arm is pretty simple. You just go ahead and plug that into the square slot on the bottom of Scavenger. Same thing on the other side with Bonecrusher. Oh, come on. There we go. The chest plate, just make sure you have these two pieces all the way in. And it's going to be important to do that because it does tap in several places and the spacing needs to be on point. To get the chest plates on, you're going to make use of this, and these two, and these two, and that one. So this one, I find it easiest to start on this side, work with this peg, and then these two tabs are going to go into to Scavengers. Let's see if I can do this. You're not going to be able to see it that well, and that's just going to be the way it is because of the way how big this guy is and the angle. I'm not going to be able to actually show you this going in. But believe me, it goes in. Same thing on this side. Getting it into Bonecrusher. There we go. A couple of things for the treads. You lift up the arm and you'll go ahead and tab the back tread into the forearm of long haul. Same thing on this side. So the way that the treads are secured, the back are secured by long haul and the front is secured by the chest wing, or whatever you want to call it. And finally you have Devastator in combine mode, and he is massive. I'm not going to be able to get him in frame really much better than this without showing off my entire studio area. Studio area is kind of being generous. Let's show him compared to Superion, and yes, I'm still using my Wave 1 Superion setup. Bring him out with the before and after, or I forget what the other name that they call their company by. But yeah, they go up to about his waist. Let's go ahead and bring in Menasor. Sorry that I'm not getting all these guys in frame. Bring in Prowl. And for giggles, MP10 as well, because why not? And he comes up to about the thigh. Alright, let's get all you guys out of the way now. Nobody cares about you. This is not about you. The one thing I didn't show is his combiner weapon. Just slide that in. So his hands just open and close. We'll talk about articulation in just a second, but you can just slide that in. And that's really it. It doesn't have a ton of accessories, so Let's get rid of this. We've already gone through the head articulation. It just swivels back and forth. Arms, they're just a friction joint, which is really disappointing. They are secure enough. I would have liked some ratchets, but I can understand the limitation. He does have that elbow swivel or bicep swivel. He does have softly ratcheted elbows, and he has the wrist, and he has the 4-pin fingers. No articulation on the thumb. He does have that same waist swivel from long haul. These pieces flip up and down. He has tight ratchets going out, and you can go out really far. These are definitely super secure. Same thing with forward and back. Oops. You can go pretty far forward, pretty far back until he runs into long haul. Thigh swivel. He has another joint here, so if you want to leave the flap down and get some forward motion, he has a ratcheted joint there. He has a pretty high knee, ratcheted again, but he can get a lot of range, more than 90 degrees, which is really impressive for the guy this size. Coming down, he does have those ankle tilts on each side, which are also ratcheted. Great. And then he doesn't have any swivel at the ankles. He does have a little bit of toe articulation here. This one you really don't because it's tabbed in. Oh, I'm sorry. This is supposed to be rotated. This keeps it secure here. Now I understand why they have that. It's not a lot, but it does keep it a little bit more secure. So that is official transformation. If you don't use the ankle tilt here, or on this side, sorry, this side, you can keep the leg, the arms pegged into the leg, which is a little bit cleaner, but again, you'll lose ankle articulation there. Final thoughts. Robot mode on most of these guys are only so-so. Alt mode is pretty good if you're just expecting them to kind of look the part, not have a ton of articulation or paint apps. I think those will be, this is one of the sets where I'm definitely going to get the repro labels, because I think it's going to really make this guy pop in all his modes a bit more, because he is a big chunk of green. I'd like to highlight some of the even molded areas, which there is a lot of molding. Just highlight that. I think a set of stickers or decals would really help him look much better. The scale is pretty good in robot mode, not so much in alt mode. Again, pretty forgivable given that all he has to do, especially to make him pretty proportionate in combined mode. His alt mode, his combined mode, his arms are his weakest part in the sense that they just look really thin. Some people have chosen not to tab in the treads and just kind of make these more forearmy. So if you don't, I'm going to have trouble doing that. But basically, just pretend that this entire section will be the arm, which thickens it up a bit, but I don't think that's actually accurate to the G1 representation of Devastator. So it's a trade-off there. His lower body, I think, is really, his core and lower body are really impressive. Really just his arms are pretty weak. As far as his head, I do think it's a little tiny. I wish they could make it a little bit bigger, but it does look the part. It does look really good for a Devastator. The biggest thing for me is that he just, I mean, is this, right? So I don't understand why you would do a Combiner Wars series and have Devastator just be totally out of scale, because they did it just for size, right? And just for the impressive look of having another huge figure kind of to follow up their Titan Metroplex. But when you have all these other combiners that are out and are coming out that are kind of uniform, and then you have one that's just really big, that it doesn't make sense to me. As a collector, I love it. I think it's really cool that we have something this massive, and in that sense, I think Hasbro has definitely made a success. It's kind of a conundrum that they're in, though, to do this and then it's a conundrum for me as a fan to have this and be happy with it, but then not have it match up with anything in any of my collections, because he dwarfs even the third-party combiners. But yeah, overall, he just looks really great. He's way more impressive than I thought he'd be. I mean, from the back, he does look a little weak in the sense that he does have some holes here, and you see a lot of robot mode going on. But yeah, but by and large, I think this guy is a massive success. That said, I'm definitely going to get the Takara one because I think it's going to look a bit better, and it will have some more accessories like weapons and even the addition of some elbows for some of the robot modes. But my final thoughts are that if you're a Transformers fan, you have to pick them up. He's just one of those iconic figures, and getting a figure of this size that's this well executed is pretty rare for the official line. And for, you know, whatever, $140, $150 that you can get him for, you're getting a lot of toy for that. So I actually really like it. The only thing is, I kind of would have wished that they went with 6 Deluxes maybe, and maybe that would have been a little bit better for me overall. But again, very impressive. I think much better executed than their Metroplex, Titan class Metroplex. So go ahead, don't hesitate. If you want to add this guy to your collection, either well, any of the versions, like the Hasbro version or the upcoming Takara version or the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive version, you can pick any of those up at toydojo.com, my sponsor. If you liked the video, I know it's long, hopefully it helped you out going through all these transformations. Please give it a thumbs up, leave some comments or questions in the description below. I'll go ahead and throw up my little subscribe thing here again if you want to keep up to date with all my news and reviews. And as always, if you want to keep up to date on Facebook, go ahead and head on over to P4L Reviews on Facebook and follow me there. Alright? Thank you very much for keeping with me through that entire thing, and hope you guys have a good one.